13th, 2024. Great to have you. We've got a number of interesting updates for all of you this evening. We will not waste any time and get right to it. If folks join us late, they can be filled in after the fact. So it's their loss if they've missed out on the first part of the meeting. So anyway, let's get rolling. I would like to see, first off, as per our tradition and state law, is there any public comment on items not on the agenda tonight? And if you've seen the agenda, if you're interested in any of those topics and commenting on them, that would be the opportunity for you this evening to comment on those items. But anything else within the jurisdiction of Missoula County you'd like to comment on? Okay, seeing none. Kyla, I see your face appear on my screen here. Are there any updates, housekeeping items you'd like to hit on, or perhaps even an introduction to make?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Kyla Leonards with Lands and Communities Office Administrator. Tonight, we are going to change up the agenda just a little bit. The Our Missoula project update is going to be last on the agenda, and Ben Brewer is going to be subbing in for Emily tonight. So that'll be that change. And then just housekeeping, we'll do round robin at the end of the meeting. I do have a few updates that I can give after we do our introduction here. If you do have any comments, please raise your hand if you're on Microsoft Teams. If you're on the phone, you can *6 to unmute and *5 to raise your hand. So with that, I will go ahead and bring in Brenna, if she'd like to turn on camera and do a quick introduction. That would be great to kick us off.
Thanks, Kyla. Brenna, are you out there?
Hi. Yes, I am. And I'm sorry I can't get my camera to go. I'm having technical difficulties.
Okay.
So I'll give a verbal introduction. I'm Brenna Davis. I'm the new engagement coordinator. So I look forward to working with community councils. Some of you may have already heard from me with some of the council updates I've been sending out. But yeah.
Okay, well, welcome aboard, Brenna. We will see you visually at a different point in time, but thanks for the introduction. We are flying through this agenda, Kyla. You said to hold the Missoula 2045 land use plan until last, but I guess we have the community council ride-along topic. Do you want to fill folks in on that?
Sure. So I was just following up on this. We had quite a few of the councils participate in this community council ride-along. I know that the commissioners enjoyed it. We wanted to have any feedback, if anyone had any at this meeting. If we would like to, we're looking at probably starting to schedule these again in the spring, just due to the winter months and holidays and things coming up. But I kind of wanted it to open it up. The commissioner's office and schedulers wanted to know kind of how your thoughts were and if your councils still were interested in participating. So for now, I'll just kind of leave that open to anyone to raise your hand and share if you have any feedback for that.
Thanks, Kyla. So for folks who are on the line who might have participated in one of these, now's your chance to weigh in and share with us if you think it was valuable or not, or if other folks might be interested and have questions about it. Please do raise your hand. This again is an opportunity for any of you who are interested to basically spend a day with the commission and just sit in on meetings that we are involved in and just see firsthand what it is to be like, I guess, on this side of the equation. So Frankie.
Hi, yeah, I got to participate in a half day and it was really valuable. I think Chris and I learned a lot just from that, and maybe scheduling a half day rather than a whole day though would be better for community members. Just I know he had a lot going on, and but I would recommend everybody taking advantage of that if it's offered. It was wonderful. So
Thank you, Frankie. You bet. Thank you. Anyone else? Reagan.
Yeah, I did mine a couple months ago. I'm not sure. I'm from West Valley Community Council, and I'm not sure if Jerry or Tom had an opportunity, but I had a blast. I really enjoyed spending the day with Josh and Juanita. I didn't have a chance to go to any meetings with Dave, but I felt like it gave me an opportunity to see a life of a commissioner and get to know them on a personal level. I felt like it really helped me, especially being new to our council, feel more comfortable, around you guys. Not that you're scary, but it was just something new for me. So totally recommend it. I loved it. For me, I did like the full day going back and forth for meetings. I enjoyed that, but totally understand the half day thing as well. But yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity. So
Thanks for that. And there's no reason why if someone can only do a half a day it is. If you can do a full day, great, but no pressure one way or the other. Any others? Anyone out there who is interested in this? Well, Kyla. Oh, we've got Grace. Go ahead, Grace.
I'd be interested now that things are slowing down a bit
Great.
coming in. I don't know if I could do a whole day, but I could do close to a whole day because it's almost, an hour and a half at least on good roads driving home.
That's perfectly fine. Whatever time works for your schedule would be
So
perfectly all right.
how do you organize that? I mean, do I just call you and see what day is a good day, or?
You would not call me, but Kyla can fill you in on the process. So before we go on to Stephanie, Kyla, you just want to hit on what the process is for anyone who's interested to sign up for this?
Sure. So Christina Duar out of the commissioner's office will send an email to all of the councils with options of dates that work best for the commissioner's calendar to get your best observation day. And then you would just reply back to that email on the date that works best for you. And Christina will probably, again, be sending that out sometime in the spring once we get some dates finalized, just due to the weather and holidays coming up. So I will keep you guys updated at these meetings when that comes to fruition. If there's a time that you think you want to do before then, you can reach out and we can see if we can find a day as well. But right now we're looking at spring of next year.
Okay.
Hey,
Does that
Dave,
answer your
can I
question,
just
Grace?
add something?
Yeah, just a minute, Josh. Grace, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I would have to call and see if there's a way I could do it like sometime in January, February, because once and then try to get out of here for a little bit in March or something, and then my season kicks off, and it'd be really hard for me to do it in the spring. So I'll just kind of, Kyla, I'll send you an email. Maybe we can figure out a time.
Sure, we can look at dates in those time frames for you, Grace.
Sure.
Sounds good. Josh and then Stephanie.
Thanks. So all I was going to say, Grace, was we have tons of flexibility here. So share what dates work for you. We'll go back and forth. We'll find something that'll work.
All right, cool. That'd be,
right.
I'm excited to do it. I'm really excited.
It's a cool experience for all of us. All right,
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay, Stephanie.
I just wanted to say that I'm still interested and it just hasn't worked out time-wise, but I think it's a great idea. So that was all.
Great. Well, as luck would have it, we are doing this 365 around the year, so plenty of opportunities to to make accommodations for folks, and we simply were looking at spring to accommodate adverse weather conditions and such. But if you hardy souls out there would like to do something during the middle of winter and that works better for your schedules like Grace's, we can accommodate. Okay. Thanks,
All right,
Kyla,
well-
for that update. And I guess it has Ben Brewer joined us.
It looks like Ben has joined us. I'll give him just another minute because I promised him a little bit of time. I just wanted to let everyone know really quickly, I'll highlight it again next month, but the special district filing, which is the special district election, which is the first Tuesday in May. So that election will be May 6th of 2025. That filing period, the filing dates are now posted on the Missoula County website. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up that the candidate filing opens December 12th and closes February 10th. So you have a couple months to do it, but it's really important that you file with special district elections for candidate filing if you're interested in filing for a seat, or if you know a community member who's interested in filing for a seat. They are elected seats, so I just wanted to really highlight that and kind of hone that in. And I will highlight it again next month, but I'll drop the link in the chat just so you guys can look at it and have it for your reference. But I just wanted to highlight it since it's fresh and live on the website as of this week.
Important
And
reminder,
then
Kyla. Yes, these are elected positions, and we do not like to appoint folks. Actually, that's a kind of worst case scenario that we're in a position where we need to appoint what would otherwise be an elected position. Any questions about that?
Hey, Kyla, this is Juan or Dave. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, I was just, can we send an email out to council members, all council members too, to remind folks? Or did you already say that you were doing that, Kyla?
Yep, there will be lots of follow-up. You'll probably hear from me more than you want to, council members, about reminders and all of the things. You'll probably also get a letter in your PO boxes from the elections office letting you know which terms expire in May and which ones are due for filing. But yes, I'll be sending out lots of emails about this and reminders, and I might even follow up individually if I haven't heard from you yet.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And for council members joining us tonight, please do share that information with your colleagues. We don't want to be in a position of hearing from anyone 6 months from now that they did not know about this. So there might be a little bit of information overload, but we want to make sure everyone is aware of the details related to filing for office. Kelly.
Hey gang, it's Kelly Durbin Williams. On the topic of filing to run, there is currently 2 vacant seats in the West Valley Council, and I had inquired about the possibility of applying, and due to the proximity of the upcoming race, I was told that that had been closed. I'm struggling to figure out what it would take to apply for the next 6 months on being on the council.
Kyla, do you have anything you want to add to that? Were we going to just wait for the filing to run its course rather than, I can't remember whether West Valley was in the mix as far as whether we were going to appoint vacancies or run it through the normal filing and election process.
It really kind of depends. There is a seat that expires in May of 2025. So that one would need to apply with special district filing for that full 3-year seat. There is a partial term that is filled by, all partial terms have to be filled by commissioner appointment. But at this time, we are asking that people file through the special district process due to that seat expiring in May. We would encourage that you would be engaged with the council and go to the council meetings. And that would be probably the request at the time.
So I hear the request, understand it. There's a lot happening right now, and would be willing to apply. And even though it's just a 6-month opportunity, not to say I would be selected, but would be willing to serve. Is it legally required to close because of what's coming, or is it just a preference?
So I think, Kelly, the decision that we have made is that we are going to fill these vacancies through the special district filing process. So you will actually be running for office.
Yeah, Dave, I understand that. I'm just concerned that there's 6 months time between now and an election where there are 2 open seats, which I'm aware have been open for a while. Had I not been running for the Senate, maybe that would have been a better run. But in any case, again, just see that there's an opening, willing to apply. I can't find anything that clearly states that that it can't stay open and be up for. But again, you guys can check into this, and I can reach out privately, and I don't need to capitalize the meeting here.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. So more information will be coming specific to the filing process, but that is the process that is going to be used to fill these vacancies. Okay. Any other questions or comments from folks? Seeing none. Ben Brewer.
Well, I was going to say something. Sorry, took me a minute.
Go ahead, Josh.
Thanks. I just want to reiterate what you said, that we really want these to be elected positions and not the BCC appointing somebody. That's a last resort. This are folks from your community electing a community council member. That's by far the preferable option for us. So I just wanted to reiterate kind of put an exclamation mark on what Dave said. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. And this does not preclude anyone from participating in community council meetings. By all means, show up and participate as much as you can.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
I appreciate
it. You bet. Ben Brewer, are you out there?
I'm right here. Can you see me and hear me?
I can see you and I can hear you. So it is all yours for you to fill us in on Missoula 2045 land use plan.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. And it's nice to be here. I don't believe I've presented to this group before. So this is a new venue for me. And so good to be here. Thanks, council members and commissioners for having us. My name is Ben Brewer. I'm a planning supervisor with the Community Planning and Development and Innovation Department with the city. And I'm joined today by Ashley Brittner-Wells, who's our department engagement specialist. And this is a chance for her to make a connection and introduce herself as well. So we've got a presentation that we were going to run through with this group to give an overview and some updates on the our Missoula project that the city is engaged in. We're here for questions and discussion about it. I think we have 15-minute or so presentation, and then time after that. Does that sound about right, Kyla?
Yep, that's about right, Ben.
Okay. Well, great. I will, unless Ashley, do you want to introduce yourself or say anything before I start?
No, I think that was great. Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley Brittner-Wells. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the community engagement specialist for community planning, development, and innovation that is leading the Our Missoula project, and have been working for the last couple of years on the Our Missoula project. And we're just excited to be here tonight to present to you all. So thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you. Rev my presentation up here. And I did want to say also, yeah, thank you, Kyla, and to the group for adjusting your agenda for me tonight. I was I'm filling in for one of our team members to be here, and I also had parent-teacher conferences, and they were scheduled at the same time. So I really appreciate giving me a second. And also, I'm presenting from home and just had an interruption here from a kiddo. So I'm going to drop off for just 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, it's gonna be that kind of a day. At least at this point, getting interrupted by your kid during a public presentation is not as much of a surprise, maybe, as it has been in the past. Anyway, sorry about that. And as I was to get going here, we are working on a project called the Our Missoula Growth Policy Update and Code Reform Project. It is a extensive project. It's been a multi-year effort, and the involves two major milestones and deliverables and goals in it that are to update the city's growth policy and then to follow that with a comprehensive code reform. Just to start from a high level kind of reminder and overview of what this project is about. We talk about this as having two really kind of levels and tiers that we're trying to endeavor to accomplish. We want to update our codes, and that involves a variety of development codes and titles that are city regulations that relate to our development in the city and how those work together and coordinate with one another. But we also want those codes to reflect city policy and to implement the policy goals that we've set over the years. And so, just a very simple way to think about this, in kind of a nice simple equation is that, if we update our policies and codes to reflect those policies, then we will hope to achieve the outcomes that we desire. We often talk about this project in relation to the outcomes that we are concerned about and hoping to affect and to result in as related to some of these specific policy goals that are listed here. The city has over the last few years, over the last decade or so, really engaged in quite a bit of policy work and policy and planning updates. And that's covered a broad range, and we continue to do that currently as well with a few planning update efforts happening concurrently. But these are the focuses that we've really highlighted during this process. We're committed to addressing and incorporating concerns and considerations related to equity into this work and how it is implemented. We're focused on the importance of connectivity in helping to address and reach goals that we've set, especially related to climate. And those are aspects of the project that we've been hitting on. And then as we know and have heard about and been talking about for some time, housing is a top of mind issue for us in the community and beyond Missoula, of course, as well. And that's something that has been a major focus of this project as well. The project we have identified and talk about the project as being broken out into multiple phases. So just as a overview of what those are and have been, we kicked off the project in fall of 2022 and really spent time ahead of that getting prepped and organized. And then following the project kickoff and introduction, we really dove into and spent a fair amount of time working to define, the problems that we're trying to address here. That's involved a range of analysis and evaluation related to establishing our existing conditions, and as well as evaluating issues in our codes and how our codes relate to our policies. There's two main materials related to that that we produced during that time that are foundational and really inform the project. One was an equity and land use report and evaluation, and that was something that the city has not undertaken before, and it was so it is adding kind of analysis and recommendations to how we should be updating our policy and how to implement that in the codes, and that was something that we not only dug into and spent time to make sure that we got the information that we needed, but we also followed up with sharing that out broadly and taking the time to present it and facilitate conversations about people's experience related to the findings in that report. And that's been, as I said, kind of foundational to this and carried through this project. Another key material that we produced during this time is called the Code Diagnostic, and this was really focused on evaluating the city's existing development codes and evaluating them for several kind of main sets of issues. The first of which is the substantive part of the codes, and that really relates to, are they implementing the city's goals? Are they actually connected to and furthering values and goals that we've expressed, or conversely, are they getting in the way of those? Are they creating barriers to the type of development that we've stated we want in the community and want to make it as easy as possible to occur? Other aspects of the code diagnostic included the looking at the organization of the code. So are the codes navigable? Are they understandable? Are they clear? Are they not clear, inconsistent, that type of thing. And then a third focus of the code diagnostic was to look at the processes related to our codes and development review processes. And essentially, what is the path to yes, and where are the barriers to that, or the inconsistencies. That phase also included quite a bit of, as I said, analysis of existing conditions that are a key, that inform how we put the planning effort together here. The third phase of the project really focused on establishing, designing and sharing out, potential scenarios for future growth. Asking the question, what could change look like in Missoula, especially, and also setting those up in a way that facilitated input and conversations about the trade-offs, especially related to these focuses that I've talked about, related to equity and climate and connectivity and housing, with different approaches to growth and different increments and levels of intensity or degrees of change that were explored through these scenarios. We facilitated open houses and online surveys to receive feedback and hear from people about their reactions to these and thoughts on what the scenarios brought up, and that was a key phase for us, and we received a lot of input through that, and direction from the community, and what preferences were identified in some of these trade-off conversations. And so from there we're catching up to where we are in the project, which has been focused on producing a update to the growth policy, what we call the growth policy. And that's where we are today. We're on the cusp of transitioning from the public review period to opening up the adoption process for the updated growth policy. And that's something that we're going to talk you through more tonight. And then we'll be following that process, and where that plan ends up, we'll be pivoting into focusing on the code development itself for the remainder of the project. And that's something that we hope to and anticipate being concluded by the end of the spring next year, 2025. Okay, that was a run through of the scope of the project and the timeline for the project. Related to this work, I just want to bring up and give a added context that along with everything that has gone into planning for and identifying the project and prepping for it, we are also accommodating and incorporating changes at the state level related to land use law into this project that occurred at the last legislative session, which was in 2023. So kind of in the earlier phases of the project, but after we had initiated it. And so especially referring to something called the Montana Land Use and Planning Act. And that was a kind of a comprehensive overhaul of the state's land use planning or land use and legal framework. Missoula, the city of Missoula, is required to comply with the act, and it it covers a broad range. I'm not going to spend too much time going over it here at this meeting, but if there are questions about it, I'm happy to answer them. I think the point that I'd make is that we see the intent of the law, and in many ways the way that it's put together and the requirements that are in it for this process as being pretty consistent with the way that our Missoula project was conceived originally. But there are some additional expectations and requirements that are added into this that are something that we've had to build into this and incorporate into the process.
Hey, and Ben, just by way of a time check, I see that we're at 6 out of 20 slides here, so I not to rush you along too much, but just get that on your radar.
Yep. How much more time do we have? Sorry, about 5 minutes, 10.
Yeah, let's shoot for about 5 minutes.
All right. So just the land use plan is something that we are updating our term from what we used to call the growth policy. This relates to the Planning Act. We used to call it the growth policy. Now we're calling it the land use plan. It's fairly similar as far as what the expectation is for it related to the Planning Act, but there are some shifts. But essentially, it's a foundational document that we use to highlight community priorities for future growth. The study area for the plan extends beyond the city, as it has previously with the previous growth policy. Approximately, half of the planning area, a little over half the planning area is the city jurisdiction, and a little less than half extends into the county. And the boundary of the planning area is shown here. We're not proposing to shift the boundary of the planning area as it already is established in the current growth policy. And I guess at this point, I'll just say for this group that in the planning and mapping efforts for the project, that we have for those areas in the county largely and for the most part try to align with and adhere to previous county planning efforts, especially related to the most recent LUTAC, county land use element update. And so I'm going to walk through kind of the way that we're setting up our land use designations, but just as a general comment or way to understand this land use planning effort. That's how we're how we see it. I think the one area that we're and that we call out in the plan as being still an ongoing conversation and that needs more evaluation is for the Y area related to planning efforts that are occurring there and that needed coordination between those and the city. There are two, generally the plan is broken out into a set of policy themes and policy goals and objectives that are supported by findings from the community profile. That's something that is kind of required more explicitly by the Planning Act. Our policy themes are listed here, focusing inward. That's something that was stated and kind of set up in our previous growth policy, the existing growth policy, and we try to clarify that and make it more defined and explicit in this land use plan. So that's something to call out here. Other themes include housing choice and access, community and quality of life, environmental quality and climate resilience, health and safety, and economic health. And again, those themes list our more specific policy objectives towards land use and for the city. And then the other main component of the plan includes a land use strategy, and this is where we translate our policy goals and the input that we've received and vision for the community into updated, basically land use descriptions or designations that we call place types, and these are modified a bit from how we've done this in the past. Our hope is to make these not just kind of hard to understand descriptions of potential land uses, but to also supplement them with expectations and preferences for the built environment, the built form, and mobility considerations related to those land uses. So it's a bit of an expanded model from what we've done in the past. And part of the hope of that is that it's also more transparent, more easy to kind of convey and understand what these designations are indicating. This is an example of kind of, how those are conveyed in the plan, where we, a place type, specifically urban residential high, is described through a combination of graphics and categories that have different kind of levels of intensity and qualitative descriptors for what to expect in that place type. This is actually something that's used in the county. We looked at the county's planning efforts around this as a model, and so we are following on the heels of that this approach in the city here. This is another example here of just to compare as it was set up for the very different place type designation, parks and open space, where the hope again is that as a kind of a glance and looking through these, you can get a sense of the differences and preferences and vision for this type of a designation. And then the place types are mapped geographically in the plan and apply geographically within the planning area. We do a similar exercise and effort for our streets, and this is a new component and a new effort for the city as well, which is the same idea as that by creating these kind of a typology of visually described visions for types of streets in the community that are divided in neighborhood, community, regional, and industrial scales, that these help to communicate what our expectations are for as these grow out and develop, especially in relation to development that occurs adjacent to them. So a similar format, similar organizational method here, but specific to the various types of streets that occur throughout the planning area, and then also mapped in the area as part of the land use plan. So we, as I said, over the fall, we've been developing these and then presenting them, sharing them out, and facilitating engagement opportunities and activities around them. And through the fall of this year, we're transitioning now through the rest of the winter in 2024 into the adoption process, and from there transitioning towards the focus on the Unified Development Code. So today is a chance for us to kind of share out on this, provide an update, and let announce that make sure that this is shared out with this group, that this plan is available, and that and then as far as the details for the adoption process, just want to share those here, that our planning board public hearing is scheduled for next week on Tuesday, November 19th. So we'll be presenting this and hearing the discussion from planning board members, and ultimately looking for their recommendation on the plan to City Council. And from there, this will head to the City Council and discussed and considered, and ultimately they'll make a decision on adoption. We actually have the hearing date for that too. That hasn't been updated in this presentation, but we anticipate that the hearing at City Council would start December 9th. Is at this point the anticipated opening date for that. Commenting options are available through the project website, as well as to staff. And those at this point are directed towards these reviewing and approving bodies, Planning Board and City Council. So these are our staff that we'd like to direct your attention to with any comments or questions, following this. If there's anything that you want to bring to us or to those boards, and that's what I have for you today. Thanks for having us, and happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thanks for that, Ben. And some of you may be wondering why we are showcasing what's happening within the city of Missoula from a planning standpoint. And admittedly, for some of our outlying community councils, this might have or seem to have varying degrees of relevance, but the city of Missoula is within Missoula County. And for any of you who do frequent the city of Missoula, you too have a stake in the future of what this city looks like. So any questions for Ben or Ashley right now, knowing that you do have plenty of upcoming opportunities to also engage in the process? Any questions or comments? Tom?
So obviously in Seeley Lake, we're clearly outside the purview of all this, but with what we've seen recently about what the county has done at the Y, and I noticed that's within the map that Ben showed us, who will control that as it develops? Because that's clearly going to be a major development in the Missoula area. So is that county driven or will it be city driven?
Let me jump in first, Tom. So anything outside the city limits from a jurisdictional standpoint is outside of the jurisdiction of the city and within the jurisdiction of Missoula County. In terms of planning, there is coordination going on, as Ben mentioned. So I'll let either Ben or Ashley give their perspective. And if Karen Hughes, are you out there? Would you like to share anything from a Missoula County planning perspective also? But first, Ben or Ashley.
Yeah, thanks. I'll just say, I think that it's important to remember and think of this planning effort as a long range planning effort. So this is, typical for cities to plan beyond their current boundaries for potential growth over a longer period of time, and that's something we've done in the past and are continuing to do. And I think it's also just want to make the point that again, pointing back to the new Planning Act, which is a new framework that we're working in, and has shifted some of the ways that we think about planning for growth and coordinating for growth, especially out between the city and the county and in our extra jurisdictional areas. But that we do see this as the beginning of a continued iterative process, and so one of the reasons that we made a point in the plan of calling out the why specifically is something that we just want to. That's an ongoing conversation, that there's more coordination to that needs to be done, and more evaluation and understanding, and that's an ongoing process. So we didn't want to kind of get ahead of that. We wanted to just indicate that we know that is occurring, and that that we need to see where that goes between how the city and the county coordinate on that area.
Thanks, Ben. Karen Hughes, are you out there? Would you like to take a stab at describing, I guess, jurisdictionally what all this means?
Sure. This is Karen Hughes with the County Planning Office. So the city and the county have a little bit of a different perspective on growth at the Y, and that's not bad. That's just, we just have different perspective and some different goals. So as Ben said, we've been coordinating and talking through what that might look like. There are a variety of paths forward. That's part of the reason that subsequent to completing the land use element for the urban area, that we initiated an infrastructure planning process to think about how that area might develop out, what infrastructure needs, and how that might all be phased in, and what the county's opportunities were. There may be opportunities to work with the city to provide some of that infrastructure. It may be something that the county takes a different route to provide. Those are all kind of the conversations that are happening that Ben's referred to and that Commissioner Strohmeyer's referred to. So how that happens is a little bit yet to be determined.
Thanks, Karen. Ashley, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, thank you, Dave.
Okay, thanks. Tom, did that answer your question or come anywhere close to answering it?
Oh yeah, no, that's helpful. I just think it's one of these things that either semi-conflict, we know it's going to happen, and that's such a hot area right now that, yeah, that was helpful. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Stephanie, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so I did find it. I looked it up because I was wanting to make sure this was online, but I am confused as to how this is the first time that I'm hearing about this, and I do try to pay attention, but also how is it that the entirety of East Missoula is urban residential high, which is probably the one thing that we don't want to be. I don't know. So I guess we'll be commenting on this, but it looks horrible. It looks awful for East Missoula.
Well, and bear in mind, Stephanie, we in Missoula County and through our processes have already gone through a planning process and zoning process for East Missoula. So
exactly, yeah.
So yes, I would concur that if you see a disconnect between what we've already done from a planning standpoint and what you're seeing in the plan that's being presented today by the city, please do comment on that.
I will. Thank you.
You bet. Other comments or questions that folks might have? All right. Well, thanks, Ben and Ashley, for taking some time out of your precious time out of your evening to join us tonight. And we have your contact information. So if folks and could you Ben, could you put that last screenshot up again from your presentation, just in case folks want to comment or engage more, if that's not too much difficulty.
It's just booting up here. Just give me one sec.
Or Kyla, if simultaneously, if you could, maybe you've already done this, put in the chat the link. There we go. EngageMissoula.com.
Yeah, so and just to explain that, we actually so the Engage Missoula site is the web platform that the city uses to host engagement information and opportunities about different projects. Just to call out, this is its own hub of that site. So if you go to the main Engage Missoula page, there's a tab at the top that you can get to the project from, or if you put in this URL that's listed here, it'll take you right to it.
Excellent. And it looks like the chat is going wild with additional information for folks. So again, thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Ben, for joining us. And folks, please do engage.
Thanks for having us.
Now, you
Thank
bet.
you.
And now we will get to something that we do at all of these meetings, and that is our typical round robin, where we provide an opportunity for representatives of all the community councils to share with the rest of us what you are up to these days. And it's a good way to cross-fertilize ideas and creativity out there to learn from one another. So Kyla, if you would be so kind as to call off the various community councils, and folks can chime in.
Great, thanks. We'll kick it off with Bonner. Rick, did you have anything to update? Bonner Milltown?
Don't have a whole lot going on. We didn't have much on our agenda. So about all that's happening right now is we're engaging with the new owner of the West Bonner Log Yard about future uses there.
Thanks, Rick. There's nothing else from Bonner Milltown. We'll go over to Clinton. Frankie, did you have anything to update us with?
Hi. So we let's see how missing my okay. We actually didn't have a meeting yet. The way this month fell, we haven't met since our last meeting, but did want to remind everyone that Josh Slotnick has accepted our invitation to come and do his presentation on property taxes next Thursday. And we have the ability to do hybrid meetings, so we wanted to invite all the other community councils, and if they could get the news out to their members, they don't have to come out to Clinton. And that link is on our agenda, which I think got posted on the county page, if I'm correct. I'm not usually the one who does the technical stuff, so but we're looking forward to that. And thank you, Josh, for agreeing to come out. And that's about it for us for now.
Thanks, Frankie. And yes, your agenda is posted on the website, so your link should be available to folks.
Great. Thank you so much.
Of course. Moving on to East Missoula. I saw Stephanie and Cynthia on the line.
Hi. So we have one very, very big thing going on Saturday. So I think you guys all know we got a community garden. We are part of Garden City Harvest, and we have a community garden out by the school. And one of our residents has organized a People's Fair at the Home Resource Store. And it's on Saturday, and it would be great if people could come. There are really excited about it, and the proceeds are going to go to the garden. And that's kind of our big news for the month. But it's pretty big news. We're supposed to the East Missoula is supposed to raise a significant amount of money to put towards the garden. So we have a long ways to go, but we have lots of ideas. So, and if Cynthia, who's our newest member, if she has anything.
Nope, you covered it all. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you. That is exciting for East Missoula. Lolo, Danica, are you on the line?
I am on the line. We had a pretty quiet month this month as well. Not a lot on our agenda other than switching out our secretary. One of our new council members has taken on that role. And we're actually not going to hold a meeting next month because we also have a pretty light agenda next month, but anticipate that January maybe we'll have a lot more to cover. We're looking forward to the floodplain mapping. I know a lot of folks have shown some interest in that, and so it sounds to me like maybe we might have something coming maybe in January that we can discuss then. And then also our US 93 corridor study, I checked in with those folks and it sounds like they're going to have some recommendations and an open house in January as well. So we're looking forward to that and seeing what kind of safety improvements they're recommending for Lolo. That's about all I have.
Great. Thank you, Danica. Sealy
Hey,
Lake,
hey,
Tom
Kyla.
Broder. Oh, yeah.
Kyla, I just wanted to pass on to Danica. We recently did a podcast about the floodplain. It's on the agenda, and you guys might want to check it out ahead of your meeting or even beforehand if you're interested, because we went pretty deep just into floodplain and lots of information there.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks so much
Okay.
for that. I'll put that on our Facebook too.
Great. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, and on that front, maybe while we are still connected here this evening, if Kyle or someone else could drop in the chat a link to that podcast episode, that riveting podcast episode. So thanks, Danica. Tom, I see you just appeared. Did you have a question also?
No, I was just waiting to take my turn.
Oh, okay, no problem. Back to you, Kyla.
Go ahead, Tom. You can give an update for Sealy if you have anything.
Oh, I've got lots, but I know Dave's got a quick stopwatch there. So we had our November meeting last night. We had a contingent of about 6 residents who are very concerned about drug use and how some disused and abandoned property is contributing to venues for that. So it was, pretty heavy meeting. And we do know that thanks to the community conversation from September of 2023, one of the topics that came up was law enforcement coverage. And in general, the feeling is that's good. So the Sealy community, and I suspect Swan Valley would echo this. We think that's better. But as we went through this meeting, it became clear that there's a lot of just lack of knowledge about what can be done if properties deteriorate. Well, we lost our $6 million of payroll out of the area. That's a big hit. Last winter was a terrible winter for the businesses. So the area right now it's suffering. Interestingly enough, when we talk to the school leaders, we haven't had an exodus of students, mill families that had to move away yet, but who knows what will happen. So really the concern is we don't want Sealy Lake to wither away. We don't want it to become just a tourist town, which is one of the legs that supports our economy. We want to look after the retirees that are coming in, and a lot of them are showing up, and they do bring money that doesn't need to be generated locally, but that kind of core of the community, that it's why we can have a pharmacy and a grocery store and some restaurants. is what these residents said is at risk if we don't make sure we enforce health codes, we continue to have the good law enforcement. So as a council, and we will not meet in December, but meet again in January, we decided that we're going to come to the county, to the commissioners and coming to everyone. And really what we think is needed is task force is sort of an intimidating thing, but we think we can probably create a strong local group to start looking at these problems. And as it turns out, one of our recent residents worked up in the Libby area, and apparently Libby has had quite a successful project of cleaning up just dilapidated places. It's not a problem of Missoula, the greater Missoula will have, because they'll get repurposed, but out at the fringes of the county, the risk is higher. So our plan now is like, that's going to be kind of a focus for the next few months to see, we got to learn what state law allows, what MCA allows, what the county allows, and then find a way for people to feel like they're helping their community. So that's a big thing with that. We are hoping for much better snow so we don't have a disaster like last winter. But we will be coming to the county for advice on who should come up, how we can, get involvement in this kind of community. We don't have a name for the program yet. I think we should come up with one. It's beautification, it's security, it's livability. But yeah, so that's what's happening in Sealy.
Thanks, Tom. Just a couple tidbits for you to chew on. Two of the individuals who I would highly recommend that you or others on the community council engage with, and we can help make the introductions, would be Sheriff Jeremiah Peterson, if we're talking law enforcement issues. And then secondly, some of the community decay type issues that you're describing, the director of our health department, Gina Miller, would be immensely helpful, or Shannon Terrio, who oversees our environmental health division of the health department, would also be another individual.
No, in fact, I appreciate that, Dave, because Gina's been up there a lot because of the sewer and the special management area. And now she was one of the first people that came to mind. So yeah, we'll put together, we want to do it methodically and not just, willy-nilly get a bunch of people doing this or that and have some speeches and then be done with it. But we do know that initially we got to figure out what can be done and who should do it. But we think it's a good role for the council because we don't want to become a depressed area of Missoula County.
Thanks, Tom.
Sure.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to Swan Valley. Grace, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So what's going on with us? So I will add to what Tom said. In our council meetings, there was a big push for more law enforcement, especially highway patrol. And they've done a great job of stepping it up. Missoula County has done a great job. We have highway patrol, 2 different shifts it's really cracked down on the speed because we have a huge speed issue going through our little corridor here. And we have a lot of wildlife. And so it's really slowed it down. I go down the highway now, people are not flying by me when I'm going 70, they're going 90. So Missoula County has done a great job at our requests for that. They also had which I wasn't able to make it, a meet and greet type thing within our community. And one of the requests from that meeting with the county was for our community to be able to have vaccines up here, get vaccinated. And so at the store, we're organizing it for this next week for about 3-4 hours for Missoula to come up and do vaccines here instead of having folks drive all the way into town. So that's really nice. We never even thought of that before. So that's kind of cool. I'm gonna make a spot at the store for them because they have to put a cot down in case someone gets woozy or whatever. So we're gonna make a spot at the store for them and make it convenient for people. And then we're working due diligently on neighborhood plan, updating our neighborhood plan and our planning committee. And I want to say thank you to Karen Hughes for doing her second mailing. That's huge. And I think it's going to be really helpful to help that move forward in engaging the community. And so that's what's going on in Condon, and it's kind of cold and it kind of looks like it might snow, and that's about it.
Thanks, Grace. And West Valley, Tom Tucker or Reagan?
Know where Tom's at. But we haven't had our meeting yet. Our meeting's actually tomorrow, so I don't really have anything new to report since last month. And if there is, Tom, you can fill him in.
My own.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Okay, yeah, at 6 o'clock, we meet at Fire Hall tomorrow evening. Anybody interested is welcome to come out. We don't really have anything on our agenda, but we sent an invitation out for anybody that would be interested to show up. I'm sure we'll talk about the boundary changes and the acceptance of everything from the Y North to the Y West. So anybody that's interested, they're welcome to come out and participate in our conversation. So other than that, I guess everything will be ready for Turkey Day. That's all I got. Thanks, Kyla.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Reagan. That wraps up our round robin. Anyone else have anything to share? Or commissioners have anything to share?
I'll just hit on a couple things that we started with. One, be on the lookout for information coming your way related to the filing process to be a community council member and run for election. And secondly, be on the lookout in the months to come for more information about our county commission ride-along process. And as Grace suggested, for some of you, actually meeting during the winter might be preferable to waiting until spring. So if that's the case, please do reach out to Kyla. Kyla, is it you or Maddie? Who should they reach out to? Are you the ride-along coordinator?
Christina in your office has actually been coordinating most of it just with the dates, but if you guys, you're welcome to reach out to me too.
Okay, I was completely wrong. So either Kyla or Christina, reach out to them if you want to schedule an early and midwinter ride-along. So hands are flying up, Maddie, and then well, actually, I think Tom, you had your hand up. Or whoever's at the number 4410.
Well, I didn't mean.
Okay, accidental raising of the hand. Maddie, and then Juanita.
Yes, if you can't get a hold of Kyla or Christina, I'm more than happy to help as well.
Oh my gosh, the options are just unlimited. So either Kyla, Christina, or Maddie for ride-alongs. Juanita.
Just wanted to put in a plug for Slotnick at Clinton Community Council on Thursday, and you all should either attend or Zoom in or Teams in. I can't remember what the link is, but as you know, Slotnick is informative and entertaining. It'll be a great piece on taxes, and I just can't say enough. It'll be worth your time.
There you have it from Commissioner Vero. Do not miss Commissioner Slotnick at this upcoming meeting. That silver-tongued rascal, you don't want to miss this. So anything else from anyone?
Dave, I want to toss something out for Tom and Regan.
Yeah,
And thank
please
you.
do.
Thanks for saying that one. That's very kind. If I remember right, the last time we had a presidential administration change, we saw some pretty big changes in the EPA that affected our Smurfit project. So something you guys might want to chat about.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Any other final comments from anyone? Kyla, when's our next meeting for all community council?
December 11th.
December 11th. Okay, mark your calendars. We'll see you back here next month for the final one of these of the year. Thank you all and have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.